Welcome to the Unearthed Man Podcast, the journey to becoming a conscious man, hosted by Milvo. Hey all, Steve Milverton here, also known as Milvo, and I'm here to chat to you about my new podcast coming up called The Unearthed Man. The Unearthed Man Podcast, what is it all about? Well, in this podcast, I'm going to be going on a journey with amazing men who, like myself, are now on a path to becoming a conscious man. We'll be digging deep into all aspects of what it means to be a conscious man in today's society. I'll be exploring how embodying true masculine energy can be a powerful tool, and how we as men can navigate through all the challenges that life throws at us. As we know, life just lives. As part of the podcast, I'm going to be inviting some men to talk openly about their personal stories of what they have unearthed about their limiting beliefs, the conditioning that has been passed down generation to generation, the traumas and pain that they've had to revisit, be it big or small, and the path they are taking to become their true selves, to enable them to fulfill their purpose in life. As part of this, we will leave no stone unturned. We will dig deep into those areas of shame and guilt that we have all been carrying. And through that vulnerability, we show men how they can become free to live a happy, abundant, and personal life. So before we get into too much more, I thought I'd drop in a little bit about me, who I am, and why I'm doing this podcast. So, as I started before, my name is Stephen Milverton. My nickname is Milvo, and that's what most people call me. I've just ticked over 52 beautiful, but also be saying quite challenging years. When I look back over that, and I'll be covering off some of those as we go along all the episodes of some of the challenges and areas that I've been sorting through and working through over my life. So I was born in country Victoria. I grew up with two brothers, so one older and one younger, so arguably I do have that wonderful middle child syndrome, but we'll discover a bit more about that and what that looks like as we go forward. I moved out of home around the age of 18. Been married for now 21 beautiful years, and I've got two kids, a daughter aged 22 and a son aged 19, and we're as close as a family as we've ever been, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of. For career-wise, I've now spent around 30 years working across both the utilities and financial sectors in the corporate area. So in big head offices, I'm working with a myriad of people, and I've really loved and enjoyed that time of dealing with all those people. And when you work on projects that have anywhere upward of 1,000 people working on them, which I have, you end up in a situation where you have to be able to deal and understanding multi-personalities, and you get a lot of chance to reflect on where you're at. Across that time, I've spent certainly in the last 15 years actively coaching and mentoring. So one of the things I've set myself is to say, when I take on a big project, there's two success factors for me in the project. One is how we've actually gone on delivered that project. And the other one is, have I been able to take someone on a journey with me, a younger person or someone who just wants to learn a bit more? Have I been able to take them and help them grow, whether it be over a 6, 12, 18-month period? And then when we finish the project, they're in a position to move on. And I've again, absolutely loved going on through that. So moving forward, I'm looking forward to doing more of that. Travel-wise, travelled extensively across Australia and both internationally. So love travel, love getting out and about, love learning a whole lot of new cultures, immersing myself in those cultures and seeing how they actually operate, whether it be small country towns, small villages, or, your large metropolises like a New York City in itself has its own beautiful uniqueness that I've also thoroughly enjoyed doing. On a personal front, I've heavily involved in sport my whole life. I've been a very active sports person. I can remember back from being a young person that, my whole 7 days was filled with sport, whether it be training for football, training for baseball, playing junior football, playing senior football, playing junior baseball, playing senior baseball, just always being involved in sports. And if that wasn't enough, during the week I'd be out playing table tennis or some other sport or badminton or something that I just thought I'd want to try something differently. So over that period of time, I've also quite proud of a few achievements. I've taken on some rather large challenges in the marathon front. So there's a paddle up on the Murray, on the border between Victoria and New South Wales, called the Murray Marathon. That's 404 kilometres. So myself and my close friend Joe, we paddled 404 kilometres over 5 days in a Canadian canoe. So that certainly challenged us. I've run a marathon, so I've done the Melbourne Marathon, and I've also completed in what's called the Round the Bay twice, which is a 210 kilometre bike ride in one day. Love that. Probably my biggest challenge that I did take on in my life was 2 days before I turned 50, and it was to hop into a boxing ring and have my one and only amateur boxing fight. The journey of that was immense. You learn to dig deep, and you have to really question everything about yourself when you hop into a ring, particularly the age of 49, and my partner was 29 years old. For the record, I lost on points, so a number of people ask the question, how'd you go, did you win? It's quite interesting because the emotional journey and the physical journey you go on just to be able to step into that ring in itself it's a big victory and something that I'm immensely proud of. So I'll talk to some of those items as we get into different episodes, particularly about the mental and physical challenges that you go into when, I think it's the ultimate combat when, the other person their aim is to hit you and is to hit you more than what you can hit them, and you've got the same aim. So when you go face to face with another man in a ring, it really stretches you. So that's a little bit about me. I'm loving life, and I've had a bit of a turn of events since November last year. So I went on an amazing 2-day course called Unleash the Beast. It was based up in Brisbane. I had a life-changing event that I will never forget. And coming out of that, I was able to land on what my true purpose in life. It's really funny when we talk about, what I'm going to do when I grow up. So as I've said, I've ticked over 52 years and now I've been able to dig within myself and say, yep, I now know what my true purpose is. And my true purpose is around being of service to men, being able to help men find who they truly are, help men learn what's deep inside of them and learn about their own intuition, move beyond all the conditioning, all the other aspects that's held them back, and just be there for men. And also learning that a man can be full of love, a man can be full of compassion. And if we continue to come from our beautiful heart space, then we can be open to all conversations, and knowing that men can learn how to be vulnerable, super powerful. So that's a little bit about myself. So the Unearthed Man, where did that come from? It was actually inspirational. After doing the course in November and over the holiday break, call it Christmas break or New Year break, I had a bit of time to sit at home and just doing a bit of research and working through what I thought the brand was. Did some meditation, and then this image came to me. I actually hopped up on a window with beautiful windows in the apartment we're staying at, so I drew on the window what was the logo of the Unearthed Man that you can actually see in the artwork for the podcast. I'll talk to a bit about the logo and the brand a little bit further, but for me, the Unearthed Man is exactly what it sort of stands out there. What does the Unearthed Man actually know? So the thing that I know as being an unearthed man, and I want a number of others to be in this space, is that we actually learn to know that there is strength through vulnerability, not through suppression and not through hiding, or not through going to the gym and pumping up as many weights as we can, or going out and doing all these different exercises. It's actually sitting there and going, there's a lot of strength in saying, you know what, I am not okay. I do need a hand. I do need some support. I am upset at the moment. I am struggling at the moment. I am overwhelmed at the moment. All the terms that we don't tend to use. So the Unearthed Man knows that by showing that he is vulnerable, that ultimately that he is human, and that he comes with all these flaws and he's aware of those, that's vulnerability, and through that strength grows, and a massive amount of strength grows. The Unearthed Man is also able to move beyond the egoic mind. Now, the egoic mind, there's nothing wrong with it. We just have to acknowledge the role it's playing. It's there to protect us and to make us safe, but it also takes in all those elements that have been handed down, ancestors, grandparents, parents, and it gathers all those in together, all those experiences, and it makes some decisions on our behalf and plants in our subconscious. So the unearthed man is actually able to recognize that and know where the ego is stopping us from stepping into that boundary of fear. For me, even sitting here now doing this introduction, it probably took me 10 minutes to be able to start into this space because the ego mind was kicking into me going, what are you doing? What are you actually doing here? So being able to move beyond that and understand what's happening. We can then be able to, once we understand that, we can actually drop out of our headspace, out of this mind that's operating with us, and we can actually drop into our heart space where true love comes from and true compassion comes from. The unearthed man also has access into his true divine spirit, and he does know his true purpose in life. He knows that he's connected to the wider universe, that ultimately, from a quantum physics point of view, we are all energy. I know that in our skin form that we come up, we look like matter, but ultimately we are all energy. And in one great big energy field, which is the universe, the sun, the moon, the earth that we live on, that we are all connected to that. And the unearthed man understands that connection. He also has integrity, accountability, honesty, and alignment to his code of honor. He knows his values and he holds true to them. He knows where to set the boundaries. He'll take time to unearth his limiting beliefs, his conditioning, his traumas, and his triggers. So when something happens, when an argument or a fight comes up, the unearthed man doesn't look at everyone else and start pointing the finger. He sits here and goes, okay, so this just took place. What's happening inside me, or what haven't I dealt with before that resulted in me being triggered here? Because it's potentially not the other person, and most likely it's not the other person. So the unearthed man is willing to go there. He'll also dig deep to uncover his true inner self, and that self brings him joy, happiness, and ultimately freedom. And that may be at the cost of current friendships or current relationships, but moving forward, he knows that by surrounding himself with the right people and knowing what his true self is, that all the right people will surround him and we're there to support him. So that's the unearthed man, and that's the person that I am and the person that I'll continue to grow into be, and we'll explore as we go through this podcast. So the logo, as you'll see from the logo is actually split into two elements. The bottom element is actually the alchemic symbol for earth, and within it actually contains the root system. As we know, all plants, all of us, at some point, are connected into the earth. So that's where part of the unearthed man is connected. He's deeply connected into the earth and deeply connected into that root system. The male figure that rises up from the earth contains the alchemic symbol for water, and we'll explain that a little bit later, but ultimately the alchemic symbol for water is also a symbol for feminine. So it's actually getting that beautiful mix between the masculine energy that a man has and being in touch with his feminine energy side. So from the root system point of view that sits within that, the alchemic symbol for earth. So that symbolizes what I spoke about, the deep connection to earth and all its elements. We are firmly rooted to Mother Earth. We have a connection to Father Sky. The other thing too is that that's a deep connection we actually have to our inner child, and we never should lose that connection to our beautiful, playful, spiritual inner child. That's the one who knows where the joy is. That's the one who knows where it is. So that's the root system we got. But we know, like in all root systems, to grow and flourish, for trees to grow, for plants to grow, anything that's deeply rooted, they have to be fertilized, and they have to be fed all the good side of it. So we have to be able to learn how to feed the goodness within that root system. And while we're doing that, we investigate which part of the roots are actually sitting in toxic areas or toxic soils, or actually not adding any value to us. And we go through a process of removing the root system that isn't actually providing us any value anymore. And then we continue to nourish the roots that we know are actually driving all the goodness that we want. So the male figure that comes out the top, this is symbolized by the male in a position of strength, rising up to be seen in all his vulnerability. That myself that's my power position. When I actually want to feel really powerful, I'll actually stand up with my arms widespread, my chest out, my chin up, and feeling super proud of who I am. So that's what it looks like. And the man standing up saying, here I am, see me in all my masculinity. I am a man and I'm proud of being a man. He's also in tune along the way with the feminine energy. So men need to also be in touch with the flow, with their creativity. So being able to do something like this, like a podcast, I have to tap into that inner deep creativity, that nice flow, the love that sits in there. So for me, tapping into that beautiful feminine energy actually enables me to be able to do what I need to do, or to be a bit more spontaneous, or have a bit of chaos in my life, which my ego won't let me to do, but I know I can actually do that. So having that connection between the masculine energy and the beautiful feminine energy that sits within all of us, then that's what it's all about. So that's pretty much a bit about what the Unearthed Man podcast is going to be about. The format of the show, it's going to be it'll come out every 2 weeks. It'll have a combination. So the start of the show will be me talking about my journey, what my journey has been to date, and I will leave no stone unturned. I will dig deep into all the things, my addictions, my anger, my frustration, some of the things that I know I've done that I've carried for shame and guilt, but also talk about a lot of the things I'm proud of along that journey. I'll have some beautiful guests. I've already teed up about 10 guests to run to the end of 2020. They're all keen to come on board. They'll be talking for 20 minutes. There'll be a few topics we'll talk about. But again, we'll talk about their journey and where they've been on. Some of these men have been on these journeys for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and some for a couple of years. So I'm super excited to have a combination of talking through. I hope that a lot of people will get some value out of what we're doing. So to let you know, the first episode is going to air probably late June. That's when I'll actually talk to my first episode, which will be probably just myself, really talking in depth about my journey to date. And then episode 2 will be the first guest. So I'll let you know when that's coming in. So you can actually, this will be up on all the right channels, Spotify, Apple. So feel free to subscribe, and then when the new episodes come out, you'll be notified. So I'm really looking forward to joining me as I go on this amazing journey, both personally myself and with the other men. And I'm hoping that, as you see things or things resonate you at any point in time, jump in, put in comments. I'm reachable, I'm contactable. The Unearthed Man will be out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, so plenty of places for it to come. So thanks for listening in. This is me launching the Unearthed Man initiative I'm extremely proud of. I'm looking forward to the journey that's going to go on. So I'm now sending you much love and peace. Have a wonderful day, and it's out from me, the Unearthed Man.